Good morning. Here we are. It's Kevin right back with another property finance Q&A. And if you watch these regularly, you'll know that if it's 8:30 on a Monday morning and it's not a bank holiday, then I'll be around to do a property finance Q&A. And it's a pretty simple concept, I have to say. A few of you guys jump on. Ask any question you want about property finance. I'll give you an answer, and all happy days. So that's good. A few people jumping on there now. That's good. We like to see the people jumping on. Getting a few regulars here, and like to show up. Not necessarily to always ask a question, but to watch the questions that do get answered. Got some good mornings coming in now. So good morning. The first morning of November. There we are. And the year's almost done. And I'm going to tell you about a little highlight at the back end of November. We're on the 1st of November now, but I'm going to tell you in a few minutes about a little highlight at the back end of November that you just might want to keep free in your diary to come along to a networking event. But it's a bit different to a lot of networking events. So a few more people, some regular faces in there. So thanks for everyone saying good morning, Aston, Mike, Idris. Good to see all you guys there. I'll take a slurp of my tea, as I want to do. There we are. So, hey, what do you want to know? What do you want to know about property finance that I can ask you? And how do I know all this stuff about property finance? Cool, because I've been a broker for 20 years. Brokered everything from a single buy-to-let mortgage right up to multi-million pound development loans and everything in between. So whatever you want to know, pretty much, I'll give a crack at answering it. Certainly in the field of property finance, wouldn't expect to be or wouldn't claim to be a tax expert, but I know people who are. Excuse me, got a bit of a cough developed over the last few days. So I've just been down in Windsor at the for most of the last week actually to a fabulous event, fabulous venue, Beaumont House on the Beaumont estate, and what a cracking place that is. Really great for meetings and that type of thing. So I was down there on Tuesday with my current group of top-level mentees, Ninja Achievers, current Ninja Achiever group, and we have an update and lots of activity there. People buying, completing on deals, having offers accepted, lining up completions for later in November. So yeah, a lot of productive guys on there. But then we work closely together on a month-by-month basis. And then I hung around there for the last 4 days to do my Ninja Investor program. This is the advanced level training, 4 days in a room. And as people say, it's not padded out training to make it stretch out to 4 days. It's a struggle to squeeze it all in 4 days. So it's jam-packed, wall-to-wall content that everyone tells me we can't find this anywhere else. So it's unique content because you'd have to have my brokering experience to be able to deliver that content. And there we go. So had a very pleasant week down in Windsor, and we're going to be back. We're going to be back there at the back end of the month. I'll tell you a little bit about that in a minute. So, got a question? Hey, what do you want to know? Got a question? It's not only you that wants the answer. Other people watch this either live or they watch replays of this either on YouTube. It's on my YouTube channel or in a couple of Facebook groups or on a couple of Facebook pages. So there, people watch it, at any time during the week or beyond. And hey, if you're watching the replay and it's you now, so just give me a hashtag replay in the chat box so I can see that you've been watching it. But For people that are live, okay, what do you want to know? What do you want to know about property finance? And let me answer it. That's the thing. Right. So we've got a couple of questions here. Now, if you're regular on these Monday mornings, you'll know that I pop the question on screen so that as I'm reading it out, you can also read it yourself. And that seems to be more useful than having to follow my words. So we've got Adam here. Good to see you, Adam. With upward pressures on interest rates. Okay, well, yes, there are. So your question is, are there longer term fixed available in buy-to-let space? And would you recommend that people lock in now? Well, pretty much most fixed rates are either 2 or 5 years. You don't get many deals longer than 5 years. There are, a smattering of lenders that might do you a 10-year deal. But here's the thing, Adam. The longer you tie up for, the more severe the redemption penalties if you jump out. Now, 10 years into the future, so into almost 2032, hell of a lot of things can change in your circumstances in that time that might require you or benefit you from getting out of that mortgage. Now, if you've locked yourself in for 10 years, it's going to be punitive for you to get out. So it's a balancing act. And pretty much 5 years would be as long as you want to lock yourself in. But yeah, hey, why not do a 5-year deal? A lot of people do 5-year fixed rate deals anyway. But would I recommend people lock into more than 5-year fixed rate deals? No, I wouldn't. A, because there's not many deals available, and B, for the reasons I said, the penalties for coming out are more punitive, and you've no way of knowing the things you want to be doing, in 10 years' time. 10 years ago, I couldn't have seen that I was going to be, having a training and mentoring organisation, and doing what I do now. Didn't set out to do that. It just sort of happened by accident, and spilled out of the brokerage business. So, 10 years is a hell of a long time to see in the future. So I stick to 5 years, Adam. Okay, thanks. But thanks very much for your question. Hey, you got any more questions? So grab a question there. Now, let me tell you about that. I'll tell you about that Beaumont house. So I'm going to be running a networking event on the Saturday, the 27th of November in Windsor at Beaumont House. And it's what I call my winter feast. Now, it's 10 until 4 with long breaks for networking. So we have a full 2-hour lunch, so you can talk yourself silly with other property investors, and longer breaks, not 15-minute breaks, probably 30-40-minute breaks rest of the day. And when we finish at 4, you can carry on networking either in the room or in the bar, as people do. So it's it's serious networking. We've got a couple of good speakers, and it's 100% pitch-free zone. No one's going to be pitching you anything. So you don't have to leave your wallet at home, because no one's going to try and take some money out of it. £47 for the day, absolute steal, great networking. You can chat to people at all different levels of property, from beginners up to pretty experienced. Mike Woods, you might know Mike Woods. He's pretty well-known guy. He's quite a big developer. He's going to be sharing his latest barn conversion project. So let me give you a link to book yourself in. And why wouldn't you want to book yourself in? Just pop that in there. There we are. I'm going to pop that in the chat box. So there we are. And yep, come along. We'll have a great day. I run something similar in the summer, at the back end of July. I run a barbecue day, pretty similar format. People absolutely loved it and said, Kevin, you got to do this again. So these are going to be regular things now. I'm going to do a barbecue next summer, 2022. It's probably going to be the back end of June, and then I'll do another winter feast. Maybe not the last weekend in November next year, but in 2022, but late in November. So these are sort of two things that are fixed in my calendar now, because people like them. It's a fun day. So questions. We've got another one here from Ash. So let's pop Ash's question up. And if you've got a question, stick it in here. I hang around for about, usually about 30 minutes till about 9, unless we get a bit snowed under with questions, and I'll hang around longer because everyone deserves an answer. Okay. So how do mortgage lenders feel about using investors' money as a deposit? Good question. Ash, they absolutely hate it and they absolutely forbid it. That's how they feel about it. They very much do not allow you to borrow the deposit. I don't know whether you had any training on that. If you have, and you've paid for training, you wasted your money because it's absolute rubbish. So mortgage lenders need it to be your own deposit. And guess what? They're quite experienced in seeing people doing this. So they understand that people are trying to borrow the deposit money. So they drill down as deep as they need to find out actually where is this true source of this deposit money. And when they find out it's not yours, because it's just dumped into your bank and then it's come from somewhere else and then from somewhere else, and they'll keep digging and digging and digging until they found the true source of the deposit. And when they find out it's not yours, they kick out your application. You get your application terminated. So if you're thinking that the way to grow a portfolio is to borrow money for the deposit from other investors, Ash, back to the drawing board on that one, because you've got to have a total rethink about how that works. So what's lenders' big issue about borrowing the deposit money? Well, there's a simple phrase, Ash, and it's skin in the game. So the best insurance that a lender thinks they can have, that you're going to look after their investment, which of course that they're investing, they own the majority of the property. If you're taking a 75% mortgage, they've got the majority stake in it, haven't they? Even though it's your name on the deeds or your company's name on the deeds, it's their money that's tied up in it, and they want you to look after that property and keep it, in good condition. And the best way they think to do that is you've got your own cash tied up in it. So here, their fear, and fear is usually based on experience of some sort, is that if you borrow the deposit and if you borrow their mortgage, you've actually got no incentive to keep it up to scratch, to keep the maintenance going, because what does it matter? It's not your investment that's dropping down. So yeah, they got a real big downer on that. And you'll have to rethink that, Ash. So I'm not sure if that was the you've come in another one. So we'll just jump down here. So what if they're placed as a director with a share of the company? Okay, so directors don't have a share of the company. Directors work for the company. Shareholders own the company. So if they're a shareholder in the company, they own the company. So you're not borrowing the deposit. The owner of the company, or part owner of the company, is investing their own money. Now, that's not borrowing the deposit. That's the owners of the company investing their own money. So now that works because the mortgage lenders say, right, where's the deposit coming from? Oh, it's coming from one of the owners of the company. That's fine. So there we are. So we tweaked around that. And, if that's giving you the answer, Ash, then that's great. Now, what's another one here? So S-Bang says, how do mortgage lenders, it's a related question, how do mortgage lenders feel about borrowing money after receiving an offer? I think I know where you're going with this, but let me tell you something that maybe you don't realize. So if this is where you're running with this, which is, I'm going to say it's my money, but when I get my mortgage offer, I'm then going to borrow the money. So it's not my money after all. So mortgage lenders, once they've issued the mortgage offer and before they release the money, they check that you're still using your own money. So if you're trying to sneak around what I've just said by doing it, by waiting until you've got your mortgage offer and then getting that and then borrowing the money, that ain't going to work either, because lenders are wise to that. Yeah, people think lenders are daft. They're not. They're pretty savvy. So because they've got years, decades of experience of all the little tricks that borrowers get up to, and they're always on the lookout for new tricks that borrowers are trying, and they get wise to them fairly fast. So no, that won't work either. So rolling back to an earlier question, but thanks for those questions, guys. We're getting a few questions rolling now, so good. Excellent. So there's one of our regulars, Will B. Hello, Will. Can a buy-to-let mortgage application be approved without an AST in place? Let's leave the other bit first, and let's just do that. So buy-to-let mortgages, lenders actually prefer you to buy it with vacant possession and then get a tenant. So buy-to-let mortgage applications are routinely approved without a tenancy agreement in place. You can subsequently find your tenant. So they're happy to lend with vacant. Now, your second part of the question, if the flat needs refurbishing or modernising, well, buy-to-let mortgages aren't given for flats that need refurbishing and mortgaging and modernising. The basis of a buy-to-let mortgage with all the mainstream lenders is it's ready to rent already. In other words, you can move a tenant straight in there. You need to do nothing to it. Now, there's a little bit of tolerance given to that. So if you want to do some minor painting, decorating, new flooring, you might want to tighten up the kitchen or the bathroom. And if you can do it in 2 to 4 weeks, they would probably approve the mortgage. But the basis of the valuation, when the mortgage lender's valuer comes around there, is to look around your property and say, would I pay good money to rent this as it is? And if they feel they wouldn't, it's in too poor condition, they're going to kick out your mortgage application. So, 2 parts to your question there. Happy to answer that. Great. Thanks very much, Will. Here we go. So we got Thomas. There we are. Morning, Thomas. Been looking into bridging for a cash purchase. Where do I start? Internet searches make it look like a minefield. How long does it usually take to arrange, and what's the current typical interest? Okay, so I agree. If you don't know where to look, it does look like a minefield. Let me give you a very simple guide, Thomas, and I'll connect up with you after this broadcast. Use a broker that's done hundreds of bridging loans over the last 10 years. And who might that be? That's us. So don't stumble around in the dark, making what are probably going to be expensive mistakes because you don't know what good looks like. And let us do the heavy lifting. Lean on our experience of what makes a good bridging deal and which is the right lender for the deal that you want to do, and we'll know which that is. And we'll watch out for all the mines. So we'll give you a map through the minefield. If you want to use that analogy, we've got the map to get you through the minefield without treading on one. If you want to use that analogy, maybe not the most pleasant analogy, but there we are. I'm just sort of picking up on what you said. How long does it usually take to arrange? Or bridging is used extensively at auctions when you only get 28 days to complete the purchase. So clearly they have to work in that time frame. So bridgers generally are ready to release the money. Their business model is money's ready to go within 14 to 28 days. Now, your solicitor needs to be able to work at that pace, and a lot of them aren't. So even though the bridger's ready to go, your solicitor makes it take longer. Excuse me. Typical interest rate. Well, there isn't a typical interest rate because it's all based on perceived risk, and that every risk in every deal is different. But anything between sort of 0.7 and 1% a month, it's going to be in that ballpark. Occasionally it'd be cheaper than that if it's a really hot deal. in terms of what the bridge assesses it at. But yeah, it's around that sort of figure. So good. But thanks for your question. Let's connect up and be very happy to help and guide you through that. Thanks for your question. Steve, there we are. How you doing, Steve? Steve's, remember I was talking about the Ninja Investor Program, my advanced training. So Steve's one of my students at that level. So good to see you, Steve. You're remortgaging a number of your portfolio properties. Okay. The first one has taken months to get sorted out. Is it usual to take a long time, such a long time, and you're dealing with an online conveyancer, which is a nightmare? Yep. So not the smartest course of action there, Steve. Great that you're doing a remortgage, but mortgage lenders are taking longer. Their processing times are longer post-COVID than pre-COVID, because they've got staffing problems, the same as a lot of other places have got staffing problems. People being off with COVID, people isolating because of COVID, it's all taking the toll. So does it usually take a long time? Well, it depends. Depends how good your broker is, really. So your broker can streamline it by picking lenders that they know the processing time. Now, lenders have always got elastic processing times, but brokers should be up to date with which lenders are currently processing faster, and they give you that choice. Now, do you want it faster or do you want it cheaper? Because faster usually means a higher rate. So brokers should give you that option to say, what do you want, Steve? Do you want it fast or do you want it cheap? And then you say, well, give me cheap. Okay, well, that's going to take longer. You're happy with it taking longer? No, I want it quicker. Well, you've got to pay more then. Now, that's an oversimplification, but I think you're getting the drift. Dealing with an online conveyancer, yep, I could have told you that, Steve. If you'd have contacted me before you started that, I'd have said to you, going up with an online conveyancer is going to be a nightmare. Why did you do it? Probably because of cost. Yep. So cost, price, service, inextricably linked in almost all cases. So, the saying, pay peanuts, get monkeys. Well, that may be what you've done. Hopefully you haven't paid a premium price and still getting a rubbish service. So quick tip there, do not use online conveyancers. We would never put you with an online conveyancer. Okay, now, if you'd like us to help you, Steve, and start brokering some of your your properties and remortgaging them, we'd be happy to do that. So there we are. Sorry you've had that experience, but there's an element of predictability about that. Okay, so there we are, guys. Run out of questions. So we're coming up to 9 o'clock in a few minutes' time, and I'll hang around while there's some more questions. And if the questions run out, I'll trundle off because I've got plenty to do today. Don't normally have a quiet day, and today isn't a quiet day either. So if you're watching this and you've got a question, hey, start typing and be quick about it, because I'm going to be off. But I'll be back next week. I'll be back next week to do this all again with another load of questions, and I'll be giving you another little reminder. If you haven't booked into the Winter Feast Serious Networking event, then we'll do that too. So there we are. Always like my Monday mornings. So hey, are you typing out a question? If you are, be quick, because time is marching on. There we go then. So as we've exhausted the questions for today, and I'm only hanging around here to answer questions, I'm going to wrap up for today. So it's a nice, concise one today. We're going to sort of squeeze it more or less into the allotted 30 minutes. Steve said we need to talk. I think we do, Steve. Yes, I think we do. So let's connect. You know how to get hold of me. Let's connect. Good. Thomas, come back. Just before you go, right. Okay, just before you go, in this current market, I'm finding there aren't many deals out there. Yeah. Let me tell you, Thomas, you're looking in the wrong place, or you're looking for the wrong deals. because my students that know what to look for are finding plenty of deals. As I said to you, my mentorship students, we met last Tuesday. They completed one deal last month. They've got another one next month. Another couple have had an offer accepted on a deal just a couple of weeks ago. So the deals are out there. It's just a question of which ones you're looking for. And let me give you a hint. If you're following the herd and looking for the sort of deals that everyone else is looking for, Thomas, I agree with you. There aren't many deals out there. But if you're looking for stuff, if you're looking as my students do, they know to look for the stuff that most people don't want to buy because it's a problem that they can fix. Then there are deals out there. So it'll be one of those two things. You're looking in the wrong place or you're looking for the wrong type of deals. Maybe I can help you to refine your search so you can start getting better results. Summed up. All this is summed up very well, Thomas, by a phrase from James Caan, which is used to be a Dragon's Den guy. I'm sure you're familiar with that. And he said, "Observe the masses and do the opposite. Observe the masses, do the opposite." So if you're just observing the masses of property investors and you're going after the same deals as them, yeah, you're exactly what the result you'll get. I haven't told you. So for anyone watching, thanks for your question, Thomas. Let's hook up. Let me just tell you about my Facebook group. You might be in it already. You might be watching through it, but if you're not, it's Recycle Your Cash for Property Investors. There we are. Nice little group. There we are. So if you're not there, come and join. It's free to join. You can get, it's one way to get access to me. And let's pop the link in there. You see, when I say I'm going, up people pop with the more questions. There we are. Here's a regular, Genie Genie. Couldn't agree more. Yeah, I'm not sure what you couldn't agree more to, Genie Genie, but I welcome your support. So what is it you couldn't agree more? It could be what we're talking about with Thomas, that you got to do the opposite to what most people are doing and look for different deals. But if it's something different, good, let me know. So a couple more questions coming in now. Facebook user. Now, when it comes up Facebook user, Facebook has a security thing where it protects your identity unless you agree to disclose it. And if you don't tick a box, then you're there. Genie says do the opposite. Yep. Observe the masses, do the opposite. Yep. We're at one on there. Genie. Good. Okay. So Facebook user, I'll find out who you are when I drill back through the comments after the broadcast. Thoughts on using a personal loan to fund a refurb rather than a bridge? It becomes too expensive after various fees and really expensive legals. I wholeheartedly agree. Getting a bridging loan for a 20k refurb is madness. You'd be crazy to do that. It's going to cost you in fees, valuation fees, 2 lots of legal fees, arrangement fees, possibly broker fees too. You're going to eat up 4 or 5 grand of that. So it's crazy. No one with any sense gets a 20k bridging loan when you can get a personal loan for that amount of money with 0 fees to set it up, and it's in your bank account the next day. So my thoughts are, absolutely fund a 20 grand refurb, fund it with a personal loan. Don't use a bridging loan for that. Good. So Simon, what do you think the mortgage rate is going to do over the next few months? Which mortgage rate? I mean, every mortgage lender has their own rates, Simon. And every mortgage lender decides what they want to do. So mortgage lenders will be doing different things in different rates. So which mortgage rate, which lender are you talking about? If you're talking about, what do rates generally do? Well, they might go up. So rates could possibly go up. But I'm not in the business really of doing crystal ball predictions. But you've got to make your own judgment on where you want to be, which goes back to the question we had earlier in the broadcast, where someone said, can we fix for longer than long fixed rates if rates are going to go up? You would expect mortgage rates to rise if interest rates are going to rise, and it seems that they will a bit, maybe not a lot, but a bit. I mean, we are in a low rate economy now. Have been for the last 12 or 13 years. Okay. But yeah, thanks for the question. But I'm not going to give you much of a steer on that. Okay. Stephen, there we are. Another one of my advanced level students. Good to see you, Stephen. Any way of removing agricultural ties? Well, agricultural ties are put there for a reason on the property, to preserve farm workers and give them places that they know they can live. You don't really want to be, there's a resistance to getting rid of those. So you're going to struggle with that, really. You've got to overturn it, and so I think if you're trying to do a deal on a property and it's got an agricultural tie, I just think it's simpler to look elsewhere. There we are. But right. So not the mortgage rate, Simon. The Bank of England rate. Well, it might go up a bit. It's not going to go up a lot, because it's going to. Rising interest rates is going to impact too many things and too many people. I was reading a really good report from someone I respect, and he said this isn't, interest rates are used to choke off demand. Excess demand is not the problem. We've got a supply problem at the moment, and putting up interest rates is not going to increase the supply of the things that there's a shortage of. So rising interest rates, they may edge up, but rising interest rates is not going to solve the issue. So inflation might be a bit higher, but it's not caused by excessive demand. It's caused by a shortage of supply. Marginal. But hey, what do I know? I'm not an economist. Just a simple guy like yourself, Simon. So there we are. Thanks for your question. Good. So there we are. We squeezed a few more questions in there, didn't we? Which is always good. So I'm going to trundle off and attend to my busy day, and try and get rid of the cough that's been hanging around for the last couple of days. And I'll see you back here next Monday, 8:30 in the morning, and we'll do it all again. In the meantime, hey, have a fabulous week, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye for now.